On today's episode of the Fresh Brew Run Club, my 100-mile review of the ASICS SuperBlast 3. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Fresh Brew Run Club. My name is Aaron, and today I got another review for you. I have run 100 miles in the SuperBlast 3s, and I'm here to give my thoughts. So I'm going to talk about the basics of my experience. I'll go over the pros of this shoe, the cons of this shoe, what I think this shoe is actually for. We'll talk a little bit about the wear and tear, and then finally I will give a rating as part of my proprietary 3-tier rating system. So let's go. So a little bit of background. I was a big fan of the ASICS SuperBlast 2. This was my long run shoe for the past couple marathon blocks. I think this is also one of the best running shoe colorways I've ever seen. Really enjoyed my time in the SuperBlast 2. The SuperBlast 3 came out earlier this year. I grabbed a pair and I have been running in it ever since, finally reaching 100 miles. I think it's really important to run in a shoe for at least 50 miles, 75 miles, preferably 100 miles before you really can get a sense of what it's like to actually run in a shoe, because you break it in, you see how it holds up over time. I bought this with my own money, so I want to make sure that this is going to last 100, 200, 300, maybe even 400 miles, because I want to get the most out of this shoe. So that's what I'm going to discuss today. In my initial review video, I did talk a little bit about the different foams and kind of the construction and all the different elements and features of this shoe. So check that out if you want a more detailed breakdown of the features of this shoe. Today, we'll dive into the pros and cons, starting with the pros. So first of all, I think this shoe is more comfortable than the SuperBlast 2. And this is probably going to turn into a little bit of a comparison video between the SuperBlast 2 and the SuperBlast 3. ASICS definitely added more cushioning, more foam. It has their all-new FF Blast Plus, which is technically lighter than FF Blast. So I think they were able to squeeze in more foam at about the same weight. It's actually a little bit lighter than the SuperBlast 2s, but you get more foam, you get more cushioning, and you can definitely tell it is a more comfortable shoe. One of my biggest criticisms with the SuperBlast 2 was how slappy it felt. Like, it just didn't feel like there was a ton between the bottom of my foot and the ground, even though there kind of is a lot of foam in this shoe. Now, this shoe is still a little bit slappy, but it has been significantly reduced with that addition of the foam. It runs more comfortable. There's more cushioning. There's more padding. ASICS made this a much more comfortable shoe, and also a lighter shoe, which is a nice benefit. Sometimes shoes get more comfortable, but they also get a little bit heavier. This shoe does not have that problem. It is both more comfortable and lighter. The next pro I would say is the fit. I'm a size 10. This is a size 10. It's true to size with a little bit of extra room in the toe box. Not enough where I would want to size down, but enough space where if I'm on a long run, if I'm running 12 miles or more and my feet start to expand a little bit, this is going to be very, very comfortable. There's plenty of room, but not overly roomy. So I really, really like the fit. I also like the heel collar area, just plenty of padding to keep this shoe locked around my feet. Definitely comfortable. The upper is great. I think there's definitely breathability in this because there's actual like hole punch size holes in the tongue, which is going to let some airflow in and out of the foot area. That's nice. It's not quite hot yet, but when it does get hot, it'll be nice to have a little bit of breeze on my toes. That's kind of rare. I don't think shoes are particularly breathable. I think this one is fairly breathable. And then my final pro, I am a heel striker. I think this is a great shoe for a heel striker. Plenty of cushioning in the heel area. So if you're landing on your heel, you're going to get plenty of protection in that area, and it has a nice roll through the stride. I just feel very smooth when I run in these. No issues as a heel striker, which I really appreciate. So this is a fantastic option if you are in the majority of runners who are heel strikers. Very comfortable in the heel area, and it will help you roll through your stride. So a couple of the cons, let's talk about it. It is still a little bit slappy. It has a nice roll, but once you get to that forefoot, you're going to make contact with the ground and it's going to slap a little bit. Definitely not as bad as the SuperBlast 2, but there is still a little bit of slap in that forefoot area. It's a slight con. It's really not that big a deal, but it is something that I noticed and recognize as sort of a signature feeling when you're running in a SuperBlast. The other con I have, and I mentioned this in my initial run review, the tongue is technically gusseted. It's like a half gusseted tongue, so the bottom portion of the tongue is connected to the upper, but but the top portion is not. So it kind of slides around. I have run 100 miles in this shoe, and I don't quite think I've figured out the lacing quite yet. I'm getting better at it, but I have to do a lot of adjusting. The tongue kind of moves around a little bit. I just wish it was a fully gusseted tongue so it could lock in place and I wouldn't have to worry about it. This is another thing that's not a huge deal, but when you are spending this much money on a shoe, I'm gonna notice some of those little things, some of those little nitpicks. And then the other con I have is in the forefoot area. So I think it's a really interesting placement with this sort of middle diamond of outsole rubber. In my opinion, this is actually too far back or too far this way on the shoe, because when I'm pushing off a little bit more forward. So you can see the wear pattern on this shoe is actually on the foam. I'm pushing off on the foam. That could just be my stride, but this is my YouTube channel and my shoe review, so I'm gonna review it how I run, and I am running in these a little bit more forward than the actual outsole rubber. I took a look at the SuperBlast 2 and I actually got the old tape measurer out and did a quick measurement. This edge of the outsole rubber is about 8 centimeters away from the tip of the foam here, whereas the SuperBlast 2 is 6.5 centimeters from the edge of the midsole foam there. So this diamond is a little bit further up on the SuperBlast 2 compared to the SuperBlast 3. I'm starting to wear that area down. I don't know if it's going to be an issue. I haven't noticed it impacting like my run or my stride, but it is something to keep in mind. I don't know if you can hear that bird. I've also seen pictures of people's SuperBlast 3s where that outsole rubber is actually peeling off the midsole. I haven't experienced that yet. If I do, I will definitely mention it on this YouTube channel. I haven't experienced that, but I have noticed some people are having some issues with the way that the outsole is wearing down over time. My biggest concern is that midsole area, because you are putting a lot of force as you push off through your stride. Like I said, I'm a heel striker. The heel area is fine, no issues there, but starting to wear down not just the rubber, but also that midsole foam. I think that is the FF Blast Plus foam, or maybe the FF Leap. I'm not sure what I'm getting to there, but it's starting to wear down just a little bit. So something to keep an eye on. Not an issue, but I do wish that that diamond was just a little bit higher on the shoe. And then finally, the last con I do have is I think these laces are kind of cheap, but otherwise so far so good. Like I said, my cons so far are fairly minor, something to keep an eye on over time. I'll definitely make a 300-mile review video once I get to 300 miles to talk about the durability and how these shoes have held up. But for now, I think we're in a pretty good shape. Just a couple yellow flags so far. There's a lot of birds around me, by the way. I'm filming this outside. There's a cardinal right there. I think it's a cardinal. It's kind of a yellow cardinal. So to answer this question, what is this shoe for? This is a long run shoe, but maybe not a long run shoe for like an elite runner. I think ASICS added some cushioning and it kind of slowed the shoe down a little bit, which for me is fine. My marathon PR is 3 hours and 17 minutes. Right now I'm training for a half marathon and my long run pace is 7:20 per mile, which I think this is perfect. Like, it's absolutely comfortable, but fast. I have run a couple workouts at race pace in this shoe, which for me is 6 minutes and 30 seconds per mile. Probably not quite fast enough to handle that. I felt like I was kind of fighting the shoe a little bit. I want something a little bit lighter, a little bit snappier. These are just kind of soft for that pace, but for 7:20 long run pace, these are awesome. They're gonna keep my feet comfortable. They're light enough where I can get great turnover. They're great for my stride. Just a fantastic long run shoe, so that's what I'm gonna use these for. I have taken these out on easy runs for slower stuff, but I find myself going too fast in the easy runs because they're not meant to go like recovery run pace. They're meant to do long run pace. I think they are the perfect long run pace shoe. If you are looking for something faster than like a 7-minute mile for your long runs, that's probably where the Mega Blast comes into play, and it's probably why ASICS felt comfortable adding some cushioning to this shoe and slowing it down a little bit, because the Mega Blast has come out since the SuperBlast 2 was released, so you have something to pick up if you want to run a little bit faster in your long run pace. I haven't run in it myself, but I've heard really good things. So Overall, I think it's a fantastic shoe. I do think it is an upgrade for me and the paces that I'm trying to run during my long runs. So for my 3-tier proprietary review system, I have trash them, which is the worst level. I'm just going to run in them a few times and they're so bad I'm going to get rid of them. Keep them, which means I'm going to run like 300 or so miles in them and I'm probably not going to buy them again. And then I have buy them again, which that means a shoe is so good that I am not only going to run 300 or so miles in it, I'm going to buy another pair. And so far these are absolutely trending towards buy them again. I see no reason why I wouldn't buy another pair of these, especially as I get into marathon training this summer where I am going to be logging a lot more miles. I'd love to be able to continue doing my long runs in the SuperBlast 3, and if that means I got to buy another pair of shoes because I ran 350 miles in these, so be it. I'm more than happy to do that. So the highest rating for these shoes, couple pros, couple small cons, but overall I have been having a lot of fun running in the ASICS SuperBlast 3. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Have you run in this? What do you think? How does it compare to the SuperBlast 2? Have you noticed the outsole rubber starting to wear down in weird ways? Let me know in the comments, but that'll be it for today's video. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon.